Hi, I'm Alan Ross. I'm the managing editor of APC Media and APC Technologies. We are at the Seagray 2023 Grid of the Future Symposium. And these interviews are with the leaders at Seagray and the leaders of the industry. Hope you enjoy. My next guest is Jessica Lau. Jessica is the manager's at the end of storage and emerging technologies with Xcel Energy, right? I love that because that's the future. You are the future. But before we get to the future, talk to me a little bit about how you got into power industry. I mean, was it like as a little girl, you woke up electrocuting people and your dolls and things like that?
Wow, that's dark, I have to say.
I did it for somebody who said, sorry.
No, that's all right. Yeah, I really loved math and science. I suppose that sometimes is a common underlying thing of engineering.
Yeah.
But I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I increasingly knew it was down the engineering path, and I took the list of majors that engineering has, and I started crossing off things that I didn't enjoy, and I was down to aerospace engineering or electrical engineering. And I applied to both programs, and I think maybe that part is fate because I went with a school that was most economically supportive of me going to school. And
Where'd you go to college?
I went to University of Massachusetts Amherst, and I worked all throughout school as well too to support myself in school. And that was electrical engineering, so that's how I got into engineering. But power it was at a career fair. I met my first employer, ISO New England there.
Okay.
Which they told me, do you ever think about when you turn on the light switch? I said, no.
Question. Yeah. We ask people that. Yeah.
Yeah. And they said, do you want to learn more? I said, you got me. I'm curious. And that's where I started.
And when did you come to Xcel, and how long have you been doing Xcel?
I came to Xcel about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
I have a background in transmission and resource planning, but wanted to re-enter the distribution side because I think that is the most interesting part of the industry right now.
So do I. So we're going to have a fun talk about that. I was just at the RE Plus event in Las Vegas 3 weeks ago. We did this there. We did 3 days of interviews. I lost my voice, but what fascinated me, I did RE Plus 2 years ago, and it was 12,500 people. Last year it was about 15,000 people. This year it was 40,000 people. Wow. What was the difference? Storage was the difference. There were so many companies there with major displays about storage, and it seemed to me for solar particularly and wind to really grow up, you had a storage problem that needed to be solved, right? Because if you can't store it, when it's powering, giving you the generation, you're going to be in trouble. That's been one of the problems with wind and solar is the storage issue. So we're going to talk about that. Okay. But as you look at the whole breadth of the grid, right? We've had more change in the last 5 years than we had in the previous 100. It's just been phenomenal. 2003 was kind of a wake-up call for all of us when the whole Northeast went dark. You were too young you were probably...
I was alive, but
you were alive, but you
not
weren't
an
part of it.
yet.
You weren't, especially in the power industry. Oh crap, the lights don't go on. So that was a wake-up call, and we hardened it. But we still did the step down. Mass generation, big pipelines of getting power, and what's your demand? It's all that stuff. It's completely different now. I mean, it's gone from step down to step everywhere. Storage and emerging technologies. Talk to me a little bit about the role that you think they're going to play in the transformation of the grid. I mean, we're at the grid of the future here. So what role will storage and emerging technologies play in that?
Yeah, I think first of all, we're still planning the grid maybe like the previous 100 years, thinking about resources the same way, thinking about solar and wind should behave.
That's a slap on.
Like
you're saying we're still doing the same old way?
I think some thinking it still is like that. It's sometimes it's the modeling, sometimes it's our philosophy of operations that's not there. And so when your question comes about storage, is that I think that is a key piece of invigorating something new. Now we've had pump storage, hydro also for a long time. So storage in the grid is not new. but how do we use it and how do we pair it up with other technologies? I think that piece is really exciting about what that's going to create in terms of a system we can count on, no matter, what the makeup of the fuel types are.
You just changed the paradigm, because most people think of storage and they think of batteries.
Yeah.
When you said storage and hydro, you meant just don't let the water run and you can store the... I mean, seriously, if you think about it, we have to change the paradigm of what storage is. I personally believe offshore wind and electrolyzers into hydrogen,
right,
and using the hydrogen as you store
that
things.
was too, yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say that I've been a consultant with a hydrogen monitoring company, so I learned a lot more about that. But now I think that's a viable storage opportunity.
Yeah. And let's not stop there, right? So we talked about like bulk system storage, hydrogen, so gas, basically a fuel type as a storage venue. Yes, definitely batteries, lithium ion being the most popular right now is the most popular aspect of battery storage, right? But I think that extends down all the way to our customers. It might still be an individual battery they have at home, but maybe it's their hot water heater that's storing energy in a different way. We're just talking about conversion of energy. It's still storage.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of looking to that future, that's why I started with, sometimes we're still thinking like the past.
Got it. Yeah.
Because to really maximize all these opportunities, we need to be a little bit out of the box thinking about how we can interact with customers, support what they need to do at home at their business, but also, they might have some interests supporting the grid too, and how can we line that up?
My son lives in LA. He's got rooftop solar. He has an electric car. He has a battery in there, and he sends power up to the grid, and he takes power when he needs it. Here's the difference. He is now a prosumer. He is no longer a ratepayer, right? That's a storage. His car is a storage issue. Now, he doesn't have enough storage in that car because he will not let them have any of the power of the car.
Yeah.
But as electrification of transportation changes, think about large fleet transportation and charging of large fleets. Okay, you're going to need to be able to charge them. But they are also a storage source. So there are just so many, it's amazing. Now go on to emerging technologies, all right? We'll come back to storage in a minute. I want to go to emerging. What does that mean?
It means ... and all the special projects. That's what, but truly it's because maybe we don't know. I think that's why we have to categorize it. Now, what me and Xcel Energy and the team work on is about how to bridge into the next piece. So is it technology, is it storage? We certainly do a lot of community resilience to see how are different ways we can support our communities in unlikely events of outages. But emerging technologies, and we're talking about EVs and other distributed energy resources, DER, is that how do you bring that to the grid? So I think if there is the financial incentive, like you mentioned, there are policies that enable that. From an operator perspective, you also need control room technology to enable that, like communicating with the DER, being able to plan ahead, forecast. And that's one of our, the most exciting aspects right now in terms of distributed energy resource management system, DERMS, of thinking about what the future looks like of managing DER with the rest of the system. So that's another exciting aspect.
And so couple all of that with data. Right? Data management and the emerging
how to use it,
an AI, which is an emerging technology. And the world that we have to get the machines to tell us what's wrong with them instead of doing the old, hey, I'm going to go out and do breaker maintenance now. We're going to say, no, I'm going to let the machines that are broken tell me what to do, which changes the whole dynamic. I retired as the president of the Electric Power Reliability Alliance, very heavily focused on the distribution end of it. And one of the things, kind of in line with what you said, so my next question is, we've talked about reliability of the grid a lot. Now we're talking about flexible. And flexible and reliable, sometimes they go, well, I can't create a flexible grid. I want to harden it. Another one, hardening of the grid. Okay. Grid of the future is hard, it's reliable, and it's flexible. And I just go, that's oxymoronic. That doesn't work for me. To make it work is going to be emerging technology, storage, and other things. To make it work, we got to think differently. Talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. I think the grid has always been flexible to some degree. So when you talked about defining that as the future grid, maybe we're just not seeing these solutions in the same way. They're not what we're used to. So perhaps like, I think that's a part of defining the problem. But our customers' expectation of the grid, perhaps that has grown. Reliability and expecting to switch on the lights and having that is not going to change. But how the information that I think the power industry is sharing, like the utility is sharing with the customer about what energy their usage are, what are their options, what are different ways to save money, I think that has grown over time. And so to me, it's really exciting because as an engineer, we worked a long time with maybe providing a service where people just expected it to be there.
Yeah.
But now people are saying, oh, I want to know more. Tell me everything. Tell me about time of use rates. Tell me about if I wanted an EV, how would that work? And tell me about different levels of chargers. I mean, I think this is such an exciting time. And to invent that future together with customers and think about all the technology developers that are using emerging technologies to find new solutions and with the operators and the planners to bring that, I think, honestly, that's the most exciting thing for me.
Last thing I want to talk about, Seagray, women in power, women in engineering. We actually have a women in power systems. We publish 2 magazines a year. This will be featured in that. And so we'll do the interview. We also, in every issue, we put a woman of note because we really believe in attracting women into the industry. We're part of Seagray Women in Engineering. I have a whole group of women who run that group for me.
Great.
Talk about a woman at Seagray, a woman, because you're part of Women in Engineering, right?
I'm the chair of it, yes.
That's why you know who told me that I should talk to you was Kaya Dioka from Africa. She is with Xcel.
Oh,
you know, Kaya?
Yeah.
She was the first woman featured in Women in Power Systems.
Okay.
And she's the Africa Seagray chair.
Yeah. Okay.
And she said,
Okay.
Jessica Lau.
That's how that's talking about Seagray. That's one of the most exciting things about being part of Women in Energy is that we routinely connect on the international level about what it's like to be a woman in the power systems industry. And also we are all on the same mission to increase participation and representation within the industry. We all talk about what the experience has been like, what's working, what are we doing to enable that? And that's, what you just said right there, the connections we make all over the world. I mean, is truly so unique.
Talk about Seagray in general, how the value in Seagray. What do you see as a value?
I believe Seagray offers a technical expertise of which is nice to have that global piece. I think the way that the working groups are arranged, where each country have a good representation, I think that's really critical in terms of like creating a science and engineering that represents the world.
Yeah.
It sounded a little bit dramatic there for a second, but I think that's what it is.
The problem is global. They're not. They're not local.
Right. So I think that's a really crucial piece. So I've done some collaboration where it's been really insightful. We always look to other countries when we say, has somebody done, an application of technology like this before, or has somebody else done a policy like that other thing before? So that's been great. And then on a more, I think, developmental side for myself, Seagray. I joined Seagray when I first joined this industry, and I had no idea really what I was joining besides the professional society, but truly I think it's just the right size. It's not too big. It's not too small. And the relationship I've developed here, the networking, how we help each other out, it's been really phenomenal. And I think that's a key reason why I'm still involved with Seagray too.
Not too big, not too small, just right. Like a 3 beer story, Goldilocks, right? That's the perfect thing. Yeah. So, Jessica, thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you for joining me.
Appreciate
it.